I'm sorry. I just gotta get him in the mode. Get in the mode, Pepe. Get in the mode. Hello. Welcome to the Inside Star Citizen review. If you're watching on YouTube, please press the like button and share. We appreciate your love. Also, we are having a giveaway here for a Vanguard Warden brought to us by the one and only Saint Grizz, or as we call him, Grizztholomew. We don't call him that. I just made that up. But we are having a Vanguard Warden giveaway. Just become a member on YouTube or a patron, and over $5,000 in giveaways this year. Can we hear it for our wonderful benefactors? That's pretty awesome. The stash is growing and taking over. I'm about 70% taken over from the stash. You will notice that there is definitely a more assertive, dominant DG tonight. The stash does that as it takes over my body and my soul. Help! No. As I said, a much more dominant, assertive, aggressive, intelligent, sexy, if you will, man with a mustache, or a mustache with a man, should I say. Let's go and let's see with IAE right around the corner. Super excited. 15 hours until IAE. Let's watch and let's see what's on Inside Star Citizen.
The first time I saw the concept of the Syulen, I immediately went over to Ben Curtis and asked him if I could make it.
By yourself?
By myself.
Thank you, Lost Soul.
Michael Oberschneider did the Raylan, and I scouted a lot in his old sketches and the first phase of the ship, and I found a pretty nice triangle sketch, and that's where we started from.
We really wanted to have this feeling of grandeur. It's a relatively small ship, but all its kind of stylings and its shape, language, and forms really are there to make it feel strong and impactful. And so we really tried to kind of push that as much as we can.
Okay.
The Gatac Syulen is Gatac's introduction to the civilian space market with a essentially starter ship from an alien race.
It's kind of really defining what that manufacturer is for us.
It has everything any player needs to take their first steps in the universe. It can carry cargo, it's got onboard living quarters, and a good selection of weaponry for a starter to not die immediately when you get out into hostile space.
When the player first sees the Syulen, we really wanted it to feel kind of just super.
Whoa, man. Whoa, this is some like archaic type of like sweet alien. Love this, man. Thank you so much, Aether. Aether says, thank you, Lost Soul. Appreciate you too, bro.
Nothing is impossible. Do it. Make your dreams come true. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yes, Aether is telling us that the stash is luxurious. Thank you. I'm just sad that it is attached to this man. This is the stash speaking. And I'm just very, very sad that I had to attach myself to this man.
Super imposing. It's got this amazing stance where it's kind of towering above you.
The Syulen is almost this monolithic structure that will appear in your hangar, unlike anything you'll have seen before. It's very dominating, almost Sith-like, dare I say it.
With its vertical design, it looks completely different to any other starter ship that we've brought out before.
You'll notice it's a very polished ship, very deliberate with all of its forms and shapes, but then when it comes to its mechanical structure, it's not like our manufacturers like Origin, where it's very high-end but exposed almost, more like Drake. So you'll see all the mechanisms, all the inner workings.
Thank you, name
As you
change.
approach the interior of the ship, you'll notice a little button on the side. You press that, and the wall of the exterior will cascade down into a set of stairs.
You'll be greeted by
man,
like this.
man, that Xi'an goodness, man, those grav steps. Man, how can you not love this?
Crazy Gravlev sort of animation
so
where
alien.
the sort of wall fractures and spreads out. Something rooted in the Xi'an lore about their trivial use of Gravlev tech, and just to be able to see it like sort of do something crazy that we can't do with most of the ships is really cool.
As you enter the ship, you'll be in what we call the airlock, or the ground floor, kind of like an engineering space where all the walls feel quite clean, quite sleek.
You'll get quite an unusual sense of the place because of the rock materials that you've got going on that feel very alien when you walk onto a spaceship.
All of the walls, the panels, fly out, separate, and reveal these crazy big component bays, an armor locker, and also a really cool weapon rack that pops out the wall using that cool grav tech we spoke about.
Damn. I'm a big sucker for all the alien ships, man. I love all of the vibes from the alien ships, man. Sometimes the way I'm looking at Xi'ans and the lore that I've learned from reading about Xi'an and their ship design, like something about the Xi'an kind of scares me a bit more than the Vanduul, you know? Like Xi'an seem uber intelligent, with oozing with like swag. They got so much swag, man. That grav tech, get out of my face with that. That's like, you gotta be flipping my flapjacks.
In between two of those component bays, you'll notice the lift embedded into the floor. It's got a really cool glass floor to it, and you'll notice a nice hover plate of Xi'an text, which we've kindly translated into English for you.
We wanted it to feel like it could be inhabited by both Xi'an and human. That was kind of like a design ethos we had. So you'll go on the elevator, which features both.
So once you use the lift to enter the habitation deck, you'll notice a really nice small space, quite simplistic, but that's kind of like how the Xi'an like it.
The Xi'an are very close to nature. We wanted to create this sort of like cave feeling in a couple of places. That was in the bed, and that's a really nice little area for you to lie down at the end of a journey.
Kind of like a hab almost, like the way it kind of is embedded into the wall. Still comfortable though, I can assure you.
It's a lot warmer, a lot more inviting, yet through its materials it still feels like a bit alien.
Thank you, Oz. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the love and support tonight. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, everything about the Xi'an. Aether's right. Aether says, well, it's because the Xi'an are subversive. Vanduul just want to kill you and eat your kids. You know where you stand with the Vanduul. Right. But with the Xi'an, you don't know. Dagger in your back. That was the Xi'an polka right there. Like at the end, that's what they do when they're dancing. They just throw up some elbows. Xi'an polka. Xi'an polka time. Thank you. Thank you for that. Oh, come on, Oz. Oz. Damn, I'm sweating. Hold on a second. Let me drink some water first.
Come on.
You feeling the Xi'an polka? Doug's feeling the Xi'an polka. It's a Xi'an dance party.
On your left, you've got a bathroom.
You're talking to Lloyd about the bathroom, right?
The bathroom is, you could say complicated. I would say amazing in terms of design. It's definitely over-engineered.
The first thing you will notice is this silver sink almost on the left-hand side.
Which will serve two purposes if you know a little bit about Xi'an lore. So Xi'an poop a little bit differently to humans, so they use that, we use our toilet. The whole door breaks into a load of pieces. The toilet roll holder sort of assembles itself.
With the most elaborate animation, I think, that's ever been put into a video game for toilets.
And again, it was just sort of a show of what's trivial to them is like elegance and high-class design to us. It was just a nice little feature. We wanted to incorporate that, sort of how they would live if they were on the ship and how humans would live on the ship.
The Xi'an polka. Xi'an, Doug doing the Xi'an poker for the poop physics. The Xi'an poop physics.
As you go up into the cockpit, you then have a full open space.
What I like to call the cathedral. The light cascades down and you see the seat presented to you almost like an altar. You enter the seat and you float up on your back, almost like you're about to launch into space on a rocket.
Oh, I'm sold. I'm just sold with that. Can I just go, Pepe, can you rewind that so I can see that again? This is like, can I see this in slow motion, Pepe? Because this is so... Thank you, Pepe.
Float up on your back, almost like you're about to launch into space on a rocket. And this massive mechanism of play.
Dude, that was like the closest to a digital orgasm that we all had together at the same time. I think I heard it. I heard explosions coming through my screen. I heard you guys. It doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take a genius to hear that.
Extreme Bash.
Wow, man. How about that for an entrance into the cockpit? You know what I'm saying? Holy God, that's some value-added gameplay on that. That was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Pepe, put it back into normal speed, buddy. Thank you for all the love and support, everyone. I so appreciate you. Thank you.
Really makes you feel like a badass just before you take off.
One of the best experiences in the ship is when you sit in that pilot seat and it kind of transforms and the ship moves around you to kind of put you up into a position within the canopy. With most of our ships, you sit horizontal to the gravity plane, whereas with this, you're sat on your back, kind of facing straight up to the stars.
The world is a completely different angle, and it gives a completely different feel to the ship.
For the art team, the vertical takeoff was great. It was one of the things that we were like super keen on getting in from the very start. It may have caused a few headaches for some of the other departments that we work with. There was quite a few people that kind of doubted whether or not.
This is like Last Starfighter kind of cool, man. This is, I hope this thing starts spinning like in 360 degrees and starts shooting from every which angle, man. This is so like Last Starship, Last Starfighter kind of vibes, man. But with the Xi'an twist, with that little Xi'an twist, man.
It was gonna function.
What's up, DY?
But visually, it gives such a nice kind of silhouette to the ship.
I like the fact that we were applying very traditional technology in space exploration to something so advanced.
Oh, dude, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
It's one of those things, the first time you take off in it, your brain has to do a bit of recalibration compared to every other ship in the game.
If you look at the stars, you will see them going from up to down and not from left to right.
Fundamentally, you still fly in the direction you're pointing. It's just that you land and take off essentially 90 degrees to what you are adjusted to. If you throttle forwards, you go up, but that's the direction the ship is pointed.
Alien, man. I love it. It's so alien. The vibe from this is so cool. It is the most different ship in Star Citizen right now. You know, the Car-2 was my jam for the longest time, man. The Car-2, forget about it. The design, the you know, like I just love the looks of it. It's aesthetically pleasing. You know what I mean? When you get that Car-2 so nice. And now this, get out of town. This is probably one of the most unique ships in Star Citizen.
Obviously, Xi'an used Gravtech quite a lot, and we wanted to make sure we leveraged that as much as possible. However, for things such as wings and thrusters, I think it's really important that we keep that to a minimum. If something's heavy, like we can't rely on gravity to keep it on.
It has probably the most amount of maneuvering thrusters, I think, of a ship of this size, 24.
Wow, look
that
at
is
that.
simply
Look at that
to make
view,
it one
man.
of the most agile starter ships in the game and to cover the required maneuvering angles on a ship when it transforms. So once you have taken off and you retract the landing gear, the ship transforms slightly into a more expanded state. The three main thrusters change angle, the wings change angle, and then this requires the maneuvering thrusters to sort of compensate for that. So the amount of thrusters the ship has allows it to be pretty agile regardless of state, regardless of atmosphere or space.
Oh, I prefer the vertical takeoff compared to the normal. It's just a completely different feel, and
you know that's going to be great in most hangars. You know, especially Area 18. You know, that's gonna be like a really different experience. You're just gonna go whoop straight up. You're gonna see the doors open and you're just gonna pop straight up, man. Man, what a cool idea. What a cool idea, man. I love the design of this ship.
You can land in tighter spaces.
My favorite part of the ship is definitely the way it transforms out of landing mode into deployed. All of the wings fold back, so the landing gear is actually built into the edges of each of the wings. At night, it's even cooler. All of the headlights move around because they're all animated on part of the wing, and so does the light pop out of the end of the landing gear, which lights up those big pieces.
Landing it requires a little bit of adjustment compared to traditional flight in Star Citizen. You deploy your landing gear as you would, the ship transforms, the landing gear comes down. But instead of landing on your belly, you essentially land on your behind.
It kind of gives the nod back to some of our classic kind of modern day space shuttles, but it kind of gives a real unique experience on takeoff and landing.
It takes a little bit of getting used to, but the payoff is just the way the ship flies and the silhouette of it and just the unique feeling, making it feel really alien compared to our other ships.
Yes, the ship does deserve a second Heavenly Choir name change.
So being the first ship from the manufacturer Gatac that people are going to see in game, for me it was really important that it had a real impact on the player.
I think players will appreciate the fact of how much we've managed to fit into such a small platform.
So the Syulen is pitched as a starter ship, but it sort of goes beyond some of our other starter ships. It has a lot of onboard living, so it allows you to do a little bit of exploration, a little bit of pathfinding. It's not as good as dedicated explorers or pathfinders, but it is sort of better than other starters in that regard. The big unique factor of the Syulen is simply the visual style, being an alien ship.
I think we've not had very many opportunities to really show off what we can do with our alien races yet, and so this for us was a real opportunity to really distinguish that ship from our more human manufacturers.
The overall feel of the ship is far, far different to any other that came before it.
We tried to build a bit of mystery on how this thing works. It was quite exciting to try something different from the usual way we did spaceships.
The concept is completely striking, unlike anything I'd seen. Obviously, being a fan of vehicles full stop, regardless of whether they're a spaceship, ground vehicle, real or fictional, seeing this was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before, and I was desperate to be part of the construction of it.
Compared to our other starter ships, this is something entirely different, both flight and visual, and that sort of sets it apart from the others. If you just don't want to be run-of-the-mill Star Citizen player, then the Syulen is for you.
This is amazing.
The Crusader Spirit C1 is the cargo variant of the Crusader Spirit series. It swaps out the bomb bay, the central section of the ship, for a large cargo hold. It fits some of our ground vehicles in it, and it's really very much a purpose-built kind of cargo hauler. Just did a whole thing on the A1 at CitizenCon. It's basically that, but just with cargo. No. Nope.
What's up, Tech? Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
The Spirit C1 is the cargo hauler of the Spirit family.
This is Crusader Industries' Cutlass competitor.
Its closest competitors are the Cutlass Black and the Freelancer. They're all roughly about the same size, the same cargo capacity. Compared to our other cargo ships in the game, this sits in sort of the lower half of straight cargo capacity. Certainly compared to some of the other Crusader ships like the Starlifters that carry a huge amount of cargo, this is on the lower end. You can put 32 SU cargo crates in there, or you can put vehicles in there. It's not a dedicated vehicle hauler, but there are a lot of vehicles Cyclone-sized and below that will fit inside it. It utilises that central room to essentially be stripped out and filled full of cargo, and it can carry them internally, which affords that cargo some protection. So compared to, say, a Hull A, which has the same cargo capacity, you are trading off the quick access of being able to put it on the outside of the Hull A for the security of having it on the inside of the Spirit.
For the styling of the Spirit, we try to keep that Crusader DNA in there, so it's all very like sleek, continuous paneling with like little pockets of like high-tech greeble in there.
It's a lot like the Starlifter in visual style. I'll try to take all the good elements and fun elements of that, compact it down into a, not a small area, but a smaller area. So I stripped down the bomber variant of the Spirit, stretched out the floor detailing from the rear, especially the tracks, to make it suitable for vehicles to get in there. Made some big areas on the side so you can fit the really huge SCU containers on there. The walls, they've got a very specific shape, and that is so that those big containers can fit in there without hitting the edges. We're trying to keep that Crusader style in there as well. It's got some fun lighting in there to show off all the bits and gubbins.
Yeah, A1 really popular. A lot of sales on the A1. It should be interesting with CitizenCon being such a success. I mean, except for a couple people who are oblivious to everything we've gone through the past 10 years plus. There's a couple people out there that don't think it's a big deal. I thought CitizenCon was great. But with the CitizenCon and the IAE 1-2 punch, if IAE is just as successful this year as CitizenCon was a couple weeks back, watch out. They may hit over 100 million. They may actually hit over 100 million. I think I estimated that this year is going to bring in a little less money than last year. But man, I'm telling you what, they might actually exceed 100 million. I think I had them at like 92. I was estimating somewhere around 92, 93 million in revenue for 2023. But if IAE is super successful, man, it's like between the A1 and what we're seeing from Xi'an, from the Gatac, man. I mean, I'm very impressed with that design. I'm very impressed with the Spirit design too. I actually have to say, like, I really love both the designs. Usually, I'm always kind of like there'll be one that I think's a stinker, and then the other one I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a good one. Like, I feel like these two ships, damn. Like they are very different, and they look good. I've heard that they feel good to fly.
It's all very nicely sandwiched.
You say nicely sandwiched?
Nicely sandwiched. So you've got like the bread, which is like the nice paneling, and then you've got like the filling, which is like all the nice black Kriebel sandwich.
Being a Crusader ship, the Spirit C1 is an elegant cargo hauler. It looks fast, it is fast.
It's well armoured, well armed for fast transport of that valuable cargo.
So on the exterior, the main difference on the C1 versus the other variants is we've cleaned up the top of the ship.
You'll notice that the roof kind of switches out. So the C1 has more of like a sleek, like simplified roof.
It's a little bit more aerodynamic.
So to help you load cargo in and out of the ship, especially those larger cargo crate sizes, there is a tractor beam turret on the rear of the ship that can transform from being on top of the ship to help you grab cargo to around the underside of it to help you actually physically load it into the ship and arrange it onto the cargo grids within.
When we think about variants, I think it's personally important that we're not just talking about kind of a loadout change and a tint palette change. For me, I think the more we can do with both the interior and the exterior to really sell the idea that this is a separate ship is kind of super important. With the Spirit, we've made some changes to the exterior and interior.
Dude, are you kidding me? Your name better be Shepard when you enter that. You know what I mean? That is total Mass Effect vibes there, Oz. That is total Mass Effect vibes. Man, I love the looks. I love the looks. It just looks good, man. It just looks good.
Yeah, as well as the normal loadout changes. And that, for me, just adds a little bit more value to what we class as a variant ship. It's not a case that we can always afford to do that for all of our ships, but where we can, that's the way we like to go.
So you've got the colourless black for the Drake owners who like doing Drake things. You've got the Freelancer for the working class of the universe. And then if you want style and speed, then the Spirit C1's there. And you'll look a lot cooler doing it too.
Sanders, so good to see you. We're going to watch a video tonight at the after party with this.
So one of the big questions we always get is, what changed from the concept and to the production model? And I think really with the Storm, Alberto just kind of nailed the concept from day one.
I'm not going to say that in public. The concept is so good. Because my concept was so good.
Listen, this concept, this dude watched Thundercats. Let's not fool ourselves. This dude watched Thundercats. We all know the Storm looks like thunder, 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 Thundercats. Ow! Like, I love it. I love it. When I see it, I get Thundercat vibes. We know what's up. We know what's up. Don't get me be Panthro up in this. I'm going to get up in that tank. Watch out. I'm going to be Panthro.
So cringe.
Look at this. Come on. Thunder, 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 thunder.
The Storm is a light tank from Tumbril that values speed and agility over raw armor and firepower.
Tumbril Storm is a light scout tank, a single-seater.
It's the Nova's smaller sibling. It's fast, it's light, it's still heavily gunned.
It's very agile, good for recon. You can cut through canyons.
I would have liked a small gunner seat in back, like a small sized gunner. You know what I mean? Like just add me like a small sized gunner in the back on the aft section of it, you know?
Heavily gunned.
It's very agile, good for recon.
Like right down there, just right in the aft. You know what I'm saying?
You can cut through canyons like a motorcycle, or you can go off jumps.
Thank you,
there's plenty of clearance for the player to be able to really let it rip and enjoy the terrain.
Visually with the Storm, we really tried to kind of push the futuristic feel of Tumbril as a manufacturer.
I think the overall design feels very much like the Batmobile from the Christopher Nolan universe.
That's Thundercats,
I love that look about it.
Thundercats.
I think with the Nova, we played it fairly safe with the kind of the art style and the overall forms. Whereas with the Storm, we really want to do something a little bit new, show that Tumbril could not only deliver kind of advanced weaponry, but visually they could kind of advance what they're known for.
We're gonna watch
big
footage of this bad boy tonight.
Selling point of the Tumbril visually, for me, has got to be the tracks and the track covers and those whole pods. They really kind of help to add a feeling of dynamic movement.
How crazy do you think the ground game's gonna be when this progresses and we get land ownership, right? I mean, like, I feel like this is not talked about enough with the Star Citizen content creators out there. Like, the land game, I think, could be massive, like absolutely massive ground battles. And I don't think people concentrate on that enough, man. The tactics of that alone, man, just the amount of talks you can get going on, watch out.
Into the vehicle.
So compared to the Nova, the Storm has quite an interesting enter-exit mechanic. So the whole front of the tank opens up in some sort of...
We need work on physics with ground vehicles, period. Absolutely, period. Right? Limitless says, right now these things slide like crazy and can't take damage at all. We need to have a cold, hard look at physics on all of the ground vehicles. I was watching a video from this new guy for science. He does a lot of really cool vids, and he's part of our Discord. Cool dude. Made a really cool Star Citizen Machinima about stuntmen that we watched last week. I think LC found that one for us. It was such a great video. And I watched another video from him just before we went on here. It was like a derby, you know, and they had a whole bunch of Ursus just running into each other, you know, and nothing was happening for the longest time. Like, physics really need to be looked at. Like, the ground game, the ground vehicles need some physics love. Absolutely. Absolutely do.
Mouth-like contraption.
The whole front of the tank opens up and the seat kind of comes down and it kind of swallows you in.
The player sits on the seat that is presented to them and then is cocooned back.
Elsie says, KA has been doing land battles since the beginning of land vehicles. Yeah, that's awesome, Elsie. You know, what I'm thinking about is like big picture. Once server meshing's acting like it should, and we can get, you know, pretty much an infinite amount of people in the same space playing on a planet. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, big picture, big, huge, territorial land battles. Like, I can't wait. Like, that is really, like, just thrusting yourself down into a situation where there's just, like, artillery and fire every which direction and talks going on everywhere. It's just like you are on the planet and you are in some serious shit. That's what I can't wait for. That's what I can't wait for. But we need some love with ground vehicles, with physics, man.
Within the ship.
When you kind of get sucked into this seat and the doors all close around you, it's just quite a unique experience.
Right.
It's kind of like you're wearing it.
You could say it's kind of like you're wearing it. Yeah. It's kind of got that feeling of a mech, but just the head. If you want to wear a tank, the Storm's for you.
There is no walkable interior compared to the Nova, so it is literally just you cocooned within inside the front of the tank.
And I think that really helps to make the vehicle feel super safe and secure.
Those Titan suits, get out of town when you get in those Titan suits. Get out. It's going to go Gundam style. I cannot wait for that. Ground battles are going to be hella interesting. Ground battles are going to be hella interesting.
When you're inside it, it gives you a lot of confidence that you're sat in something that's super strong and robust.
The driver controls the gun and everything aboard the vehicle, whereas the Nova can operate with one crew, but is best operated with 2 or 3 to share the load between all the additional weapons. For ground operations, they're designed to work in tandem together. The Storms to push ahead of the main ground force, to do some reconnaissance, figure out where the enemy is, figure out their strength, engage them if they're engaged, but then the Novas will take over to do the actual heavy lifting of the damage and engagement.
If you're looking for more speed, more maneuverability, the Storm kind of sits in a good spot where it's not quite a Cyclone and it's not quite a Nova, but it kind of sits in that middle part.
The gun is really cool. That took Nathan a couple weeks to come across, but as like one of his first projects with us, I think it was super successful.
Originally, it was supposed to be shooting bullets. We converted it into an energy weapon after the fact. It's just more expensive to fire bullets. I think when it comes to a laser repeater, dollars to donuts, you know, shooting energy is much more cheaper than shooting bullets and twice as effective, so.
I'm telling you what, they need to make a bigger brother. They need to make a bigger brother to this, man, so you get like 3 people in this thing, you know? I love the looks of this. This is going to be like your scout. It's going to be like your light scout unit. You know, this is really what it's meant to do. And I would love a big brother to this. At least 2, right, Limitless? Like at least 2, man. They're, like I feel like this is going to be pretty successful. I think they'll get quite a bit of sales from this. And I also think they should keep elaborating on this. I think they need to take this design as the base design, as a light form tank, scout tank, and then maybe beef it up and make a heavier version of it. They could do a medium, they could do a heavy of this. I really think I think they do really good making 3 different sizes of this thing. I would love a big brother of this.
G is much more cheaper than shooting bullets and twice as effective, so.
You better believe it, Damon. You better believe it. Right, we all want something a little bit bigger. That's what she said, Cryo. That's what.
The Storm AA trades out the
bespoke
bespoke top-mounted turret for a fixed missile array. It contains a very large amount of size 1 missiles and a selection of size 2 missiles.
You can now fire more missiles on this than anything else in the game currently.
So we're still working out the final numbers for this at the point of recording, but it's safe to say it has a lot.
Dudes, and dudettes. Extreme Vag. That's some value-added gameplay right there. I feel like I want to plug in my electric to this and go to town, man. I feel like I need to plug in right now. Just wall of sound on this thing.
Still working out the final numbers for this at the point of recording, but it's safe to say it has a lot of missiles.
So all at once you can fire a huge payload at your target.
You wouldn't want to be a ship near that thing because it has so many missiles.
Freebird.
We try and envisage all the ways players are going to use these vehicles. We're always surprised by what ends up in reality. So I think players are going to have lots of fun with this at sort of ground location like Ghost Hollow.
It is a light tank. It is pretty quick for a ground vehicle, but it still feels really strong.
Whilst the Storm is essentially as wide as the Nova, limiting it to being able to be carried in some ships, it is much, much less tall than the Nova. So a lot of ships, such as the Carrack, couldn't fit a Nova, can fit a Storm. I expect to see Storms popping up a lot more all over the place.
Damn. Ching ching. They are just, they're going to be raking in dough. Maybe they are going to hit 100 million this year. Maybe they are going to hit 100 million. Could you imagine bringing in 100 million? Just the fact that they brought in what they brought in this year already. But like, if they can get up around 100 million in a bear market, like if in a bear market in 2022, they had their best year and it was the worst year in the market. And in 2023, not really that much better. It's like it's a nice bounce for people that started at the beginning of this year, but people hanging on from last year still hurting. So this year's kind of like a mix, but I would consider it still bearish. And to get like 100 million in revenue as a company, can you imagine people telling you that it's a scam? Can you imagine people like having that kind of like ignorance or that kind of audacity to tell you that this is a scam? Like what? I think they could. I might reevaluate this. I might boost up my numbers. They might. Let's see how IAE does. Let's see how it does.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the Tumbril Storm, or as I like to think of it, the tank that you wear, is arriving at IAE this year and bringing with it an all-new anti-air variant. That the Spirit C1 joins the fray, hoping to give all those Cutlass and Freelancer mains out there a pretty stylish glow-up. And that tomorrow, Xi'an manufacturer Gatac tells the entire universe to hold its carrion and rotted leaves as it introduces a brand new starter to the mix. I could really use a nice 3D printed full color mock-up here. Wouldn't it look good? You know? If anyone's asking. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you. And we'll see you all here for IAE Part 2 next week.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're in ship sales mode. This is not surprising. I like the fact that they're showing off the details of the ships. I'm actually somebody who actually loves when they get into details of the ships and we get to see them. Going from gray box to white box at finished, it is a fun experience for me. I used to be of the ilk where it bugged me. I used to say, oh, ship after ship after ship after ship. And like, then I started realizing, I'm like, dude, that's their business model. That's how they make revenue. I literally stumbled upon the fact that, hey, it's business. It's capitalism. This is how they're making their money to make the game that they want. So, you know, for people that get upset about the non-ending ship cycle, that the new ships that come in, they have to do that. It's called capitalism. They have to keep bringing money in to feed the expenses so that they can spend and they can grow and they can pay for the expenses, which are rather large. Thank you, Doug. I got over that around 2017. I think 2016, 2017, I started to change gears. I'm like, what am I bitching about? Like, why would I take the time to bitch about this? This is just the ordinary, everyday capitalism. You know, like, it's all it really is. That's how they bring in the money to make the game that it is that we want to make. Some people say, oh, it's still too much, and they're gouging you, and they're gouging you. I mean, like, I do agree. Those armor sets, they're selling those armor sets for $10. I don't like that. I don't like that. You know, but they're trying to bring in as much revenue as they can. And if there are people who are going to spend it, I didn't spend it. I know what I want to spend it on. I want to spend it on ships that I like with my discretionary income because I'm an adult. And I know there's a lot of people that watch this channel that are actually adults, and they don't fall for that narrative that you're a victim. You're a victim if you're doing this. If you're buying things and you're pledging, you're a victim. I can't stand that. That's some crap, man. That's some crap. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube still, push that like button and share. And now for everybody on Twitch, we are going into potty mode. Yeah. Oh, wait. Is there a little bit more? Hold on a second. I always ended a little too soon. Thank you, Doug. Xi'an Polka.
Du hast mich. Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt. Und ich hab nicht gesagt.
I don't know what was going on in that last part, but that Xi'an was getting a little too friendly.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that Tumbril an all-new anti-air variant.
He's so tired. That is a tired Jared. Jared just wants to go home. Look at the man's eyes. You can see it in his eyes. He's still trying to recover from Citizen Con. He is a tired man. Take a vacation. Just take a vacation. Chris, pay Jared enough just to pay all expense vacation. Just give him a vacation for God's sake, Chris. Give the man a vacation.
Enunciate.
He's going crazy.
And we'll see you all here, right here, here.
Not there,
so
but
what
here.
we learned this week. Boy, gee howdy, what did we learn this week? Sometimes you got it, and sometimes you don't. The tank that you wear. So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned now I'm out of breath.
He's out of breath from talking. Listen, Jared is out of breath from talking. All right, not only do we need a vacation, but we need to get into a fitness program. Listen, Jared, I gotta lose some pounds. I say you and I get on like a fitness regimen, and we not because listen, I'm right around the corner from you, Jared. I swear to God, sometimes I lose my breath no matter what I'm doing, especially when I stare at my mustache in the mirror, because I lose my breath every time I see my mustache. I just lose my breath every time I see it.
And we'll see you all here for IAE Part 2 next week.
All right, cool. All right, if you're still watching on YouTube, like I said, push that like button and share this. Thank you for joining us, and let's get over to our party mode.
Yes, sir.
Woo, yeah. I want a burrito, Pepe. Totally want a burrito, by the way.